ghost who never quite fit in.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun.
Man of Steel is yet again another attempt at rebooting the well-known and iconic Superman films that began in the 70s. A previous attempt was made in 2006 with a sequel/reboot to those films entitled Superman Returns. The film, while receiving generally positive reviews, just was not the Superman film that fans wanted. At the turn of the new century, superhero movies started gaining in popularity, which was mostly due to Marvel, specifically the Spider-Man franchise. But what solidified Marvel's dominance was involving future films around their cinematic universe in hopes to create the arguably most demanded Marvel film, The Avengers. DC was not left in the dust though. Batman Begins was released in the summer of 2005 and received great praise as it gave a more realistic approach to the Batman storyline. The film and its sequels, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, are highly regarded as the best superhero threequel in the history of cinema. Director and writer Christopher Nolan created this completely realistic world where a superhero like Batman would be able to exist. Now, in the summer of 2008, a superhero movie by DC came out in the name of Watchmen, directed by Zack Snyder. The movie is honestly one of my favorites of all time because while attempting to be realistic, it's very stylized and very science fiction-y, which is the case for most of his films. 300 and Sucker Punch were both stylized with his signature direction. So when word got out that Zack Snyder was directing the new Superman reboot and that Christopher Nolan was set to produce the film, needless to say, I went fucking nuts. Not just me though. Many wanted and hoped this film would springboard a DC cinematic universe similar to the Avengers so that DC could begin work on their highly demanded superhero collective flick, the Justice League of America. So the fact that the movie is being produced and directed by two of the most well-known regarded filmmakers in Hollywood today, and this awesome looking trailer that you guys are seeing right now, got people really excited. So a lot was really riding on this film to meet its hype. Does it? Let's get into the review.
Convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
So the film opens up with Superman, whose real name is Kal-El, being born on his home planet of Krypton. His father, Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, gets in between urging the council that the planet Krypton will be unstable due to the lack of natural resources and a rebellion started by General Zod and his followers. Jor-El and his wife Laura decide to send their newborn son to Earth to ensure his survival. Kal-El's spaceship crash lands on the Kent's farm, and the Kents, played by Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, adopt him and call him Clark. As Clark grows up, he finds out it's hard to adjust to living life as a human, working odd jobs left and right, which changes after he hears about an anomaly in Alaska that might hold the answers to who he really is. It is here he meets Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams, and discovers this film's version of the Fortress of Solitude, which is a giant spaceship in Alaska, as well as a hologram of Jor-El's consciousness explaining who Clark is, history about the planet Krypton, and how Zod and his followers were arrested and tried for their attempted rebellion. With the activation of the Fortress of Solitude, however, Zod and his henchmen, who were released from their imprisonment after Krypton was obliterated, hones in on Earth and sends a worldwide message to all humans on Earth demanding the location of Kal-El in exchange for the safety of planet Earth. So Clark decides to give in to Zod's demands and surrenders himself to Zod's whim. It's here that Zod tells Clark about his plan to obliterate humans on Earth to ensure the future of the current surviving Kryptonians and future Kryptonians as well. Will Superman be able to save the planet from Zod's massive genocide?
How about
You know, I really wanted myself to fully love this movie. Like, completely fall in love with it. Almost to the extent of Watchmen and The Dark Knight. I mean, two of my favorite filmmakers working on one movie should be any film buff's wet dream. But I think, honestly, this is the film's main problem. Sure, these guys work great individually, but together their styles just does not mesh up. When I think Nolan and Snyder, I'm expecting to see realistic worlds with well choreographed and well directed scenes, and I just don't get that. I think maybe if Nolan directed the film and had Snyder and his production company to produce the film, it would have been more effective. I felt as if Snyder was trying to do what Nolan did with the Batman films, which is fine, but the execution was subpar at best. In terms of the acting, you know, I see that Henry Cavill is trying his hardest, but honestly, he's a stiff. He has barely any emotion, and he took the role too seriously. Like, he took it on a serious route, and I'm sorry, but I just don't see him as Superman. You know? Superman is, you know, the golden boy. He's supposed to be like, yes, all in a day's work. Superman away! I just don't see that with Henry's performance. Amy Adams as Lois Lane was probably one of the best things in the movie, as I think she perfected the role of Lois down to a T. She's headstrong and witty, and is never afraid to get her hands dirty to help out the Man of Steel. She was written well and portrayed well. Michael Douglas is over the top as Zod, which made me wonder if he was trying to pay homage to Terrence Stamp's Zod from Superman 2.
Rise before Zod. No. Kneel before Zod.
The Kents were great as well. Kevin Costner's Jonathan Kent was very much the father figure you would expect a superhero like Superman to grow up with, and honestly the same could be said for his mother Martha, played by Diane Lane. The effects were great, as expected from a movie that cost $225 million to produce. The destruction of Metropolis during Superman's final fight with Zod was, for the most part, freaking awesome to look at.
You're the answer, son. You're the answer to Are We Alone in the Universe?
Man of Steel is a solid superhero movie, but considering many were hoping this one would blow our minds away, I don't think it met that quota. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not great. And if they decide to continue along with this in the hopes that it brings along a Justice League movie, then I hope the problems that Man of Steel has will get remedied with future sequels if they ever do have one. And the other movies DC needs to put out before any mention of a Justice League movie. I give Man of Steel a 2.5 out of 5. Till next time, guys, this is the Retro Skeptic. Good night and good luck.
But in time, they will join you in the sun.